The title of your show is Taking Time, and maybe we'll take a moment to get in contact with our breath and witness how that helps us to slow down and to become calm and a feeling of strength and our own selves at our best.
Okay, great.
Okay.
This is Mary Michelle. We're going to come back with a demonstration.
I'm going to show you some exercises that I do in my Stretch into Yoga class. We start simply sitting cross-legged. We'll take a couple of breaths and just kind of settle into the pelvis. Let the pelvis drop, let the sitting bones drop, and let the thighs open. And then let's just circle in the pelvis, just moving around. So you take your weight over to the right, you pull back, you go over to the left, and you go forward. Rounding your back as you go back, and slightly arching, lengthening your back as you go forwards. Exhale and pulling the tummy as you go back. Breathe in and stretch as you go forwards.
I just want to say that Michael's book, I've read his book, and I was in the fashion business for quite a long time, and I think that he really tries to treat quite fairly the nature of the dilemma that the people that are involved in the business have with it. I realize there have been a few people that haven't been too happy with Michael's observations.
And thank God for that.
Thank God for that. Controversy is the name of the game. But it really does give an overall picture, a historical view of the nature of this world of glamour. And there are, many things to be said for it and many things to think about concerning it. And I hope all of you will take time to do some thinking about it. I was based in Paris for quite a long time. I spent 4 years in Paris. First, I went to school in Paris. I was at the Sorbonne. I studied the Cours de Civilisation Française. You would travel. You would go from Paris and you would go to Milan, or you would go to England, or you would go to, I did trips to Beirut, to Moscow, to Poland, the Far East.
These were for magazines?
Magazines, fashion shows, and some commercials as well. I mean, there were always commercials attached. They would try to combine with the big trips.
May I have one?
Frogs eat Lay's potato chips?
I'm not really a frog. If I can eat just one Lay's potato chip, I'll turn back into a handsome prince. See?
Remember, just one.
He tried, but he couldn't do it. He tried, but he couldn't do it. No one can eat just one. He loves those Lay's potato chips, thin, crisp, and oh so light. Lay's potato chips, no one can eat just one.
Bientôt minuit sans rayon. S'il soit, on peut renoncer à la fortune, pas à la beauté.
I really think that it's important to take the nature of beauty and to have fun with it, but to also talk about it in a philosophical way. So I'm sort of interested in educational television that has to do with, telling ancient stories. Conversely, I'm also interested in the future and scientific or sci-fi programming. I like, because I believe it's the same mythology. It's telling of a story. And I think more than anything, I think stories are what keeps us going. Can you perhaps expand on that a little bit, how you see alchemy in the search for either the fountain of youth or the development of the soul or the development of turning lead into gold? I know. I want to thank Marion Hoberman so much for being here with me today. It really was wonderful. And I love the idea of her poetry and rhythm, and I think it fits with the idea of taking time. I'm Mary Michelle for WVIP. Thank you. You will be seeing an unusual accomplishment here at the Coral Castle. Hi, this is Mary Michelle, and we're here today. It is the summer solstice, June 21st in the year 2000. It's a new millennium, and we're at a place that was created here in Florida in the 20th century, which I find very extraordinary. It was created by a little man called Edward Leedskallen. He weighed 97 pounds, and this entire place is several tons of coral that he carved and made this beautiful rock garden, as he calls it, the Coral Castle. I think we should talk a little bit about the moon. You know, the moon is the thing which is in the gravity of the Earth's sphere, and the moon affects very much our daily influences in our lives. Obviously, Mr. Leedskallen thought it was important because he has the 3 phases of the moon that he's carved in coral here. It's really something. And when you think that the entire state of Florida is made out of coral, and coral at one time was a living creature, and that living creature relied on the tides, then we're back to the idea of the moon. So I think that the moon figured very, very strongly, as did all of the planets, in Mr. Leedskallen's garden. I'm sitting on one of the moon sculptures, and I'm sitting right next to the Polaris telescope. If you see just above that little green sign, there's a tiny hole, which you probably can't see, but if you look directly through that hole up to the big hole, that is showing you the direct alignment to the star Polaris, which is also known as the North Star. It's the star that sailors use to navigate, and perhaps Mr. Leedskallen was thinking about the direction of due north when he was thinking about his Sweet 16 and their home in Latvia. Mr. Leedskallen wrote several pamphlets as to how exactly he manipulated these massive tons, as this one that's behind me, this door that you can literally push with one finger. Did he do it with magnetic currents? Some people have theorized perhaps it was solar energy. I really don't know how he could have possibly done it and defy the laws of gravity. I'm sitting here at a table that's in the shape of a